Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. A very, very warm welcome to Edge Hill. My senior colleagues have let me down very, very badly. I was hoping for some updates from Royal Lytham St Anne's that I could pass on the news to you, and also the progress of Bragley Wiggins. So sadly, that will have to wait for the next hour or so. Immediately after the trumpet fanfare, the opening address will be given by the Vice-Chancellor, John Cater. I hereby declare this congregation open.
Chancellor, Pro-Chancellor, George, distinguished guests, graduands, colleagues, family and friends. Over 30 years ago, I graduated. I didn't attend any of my graduation ceremonies, and nor did any of my friends, an act of extreme selfishness, although I now believe in retribution. And unlike our friends and graduates in Singapore at FYIT, I wasn't watching on screens 7,000 miles away. And I remember thinking, not long past the 3-day week, with unemployment on the accelerator, that times were tough. Only now do I realise that I was lucky. Since the first vestiges of the banking crisis, though with undercurrents that clearly predate this, entry into the labour market has become increasingly challenging and a vexed process, and those under 25, and crucially, those underqualified, have suffered most. And for most part, Western governments, although less so those in China and Southeast Asia, have seemed powerless in their attempts to intervene. And inveterate Keynesian, I believe that infrastructure investment in the right projects, energy, house building, refurbishment, mid-scale transport schemes, create employment and generate consumer demand whilst at the same time improving lives and economic efficiency. However, if, like me, you spend a fair chunk of your time in London and the South East, the problems seem far less manifest. Bars and restaurants are full, the tube is stifling, and a charity shop, still less a boarded-up high street, is a near unseen occurrence. So is there a message in this? To me, there certainly is a message for public policy, and it's to take a more proactive and spatially aware approach, however serious the global recession or the burden of debt. And it's good to see small steps at last being taken in this direction in the past few days, including on the high street. But there is also a message for those graduating today. Be flexible. Don't be afraid to move around. Don't be afraid to take the job that gets you on the ladder. And don't be afraid to build your own ladder. The easiest place to get a job is from a job. And what a graduate is doing 5 years hence is the best indicator of the value of a degree. Now, rereading the above, it may sound downbeat, but you're just graduating from a university that's been in the top 4 for graduate employment in each of the past 2 years. You've followed a degree with strong vocational overtones, and you recognise the importance of your personal attributes, your attitude, your commitment, your communication and interpersonal skills, your capacity to work as part of a team, your ability to write, your numeracy, your grasp of technology, as well as your knowledge base to your future. And there is some good news. Last week, both high flyers and, more importantly, the Association of Graduate Recruiters reported an upturn in market demand for graduates. And unemployment fell by more than 75,000 in the last quarter. Earlier this month, the results of the 2011 First Destination Survey were published, and 92.4% of Edge Hill graduates were in employment or further study within 6 months of graduating, a figure yet again significantly better than the sector norm. So what we are seeing is market differentiation. fewer opportunities at the less skilled, less perceived potential end of the market and in less buoyant sub-regional economies, but bright, committed graduates, flexible, mobile, willing, communicative, effective, literate, numerate, technology-savvy graduates will always be in demand, and you are those graduates. I know that, in getting to today, you'll be grateful to your family, your partners, your friends for supporting you, and I'm sure we are both grateful to your tutors, my colleagues, for their commitment and their professionalism, and in the next ceremony I'll have the opportunity to specifically acknowledge one of them. On Wednesday, I stood on this stage and quoted the late Nora Ephron, "Be the hero in your life. Believe, commit, and you can and will achieve. Treat any setback as a learning opportunity. Enjoy your victories, but never overmourn your defeats. You will have progressed and grown further than you can ever realise over the past 3 years, in a university which has been in the top 2, alongside Oxford, for students' personal development in each of the past 2 national student surveys, in a university which has been shortlisted 3 times in the past 5 years as the Times Higher UK University of the Year, a record which is matched nowhere else. And encourage us to play our part. Our careers team remains your careers team long after you've graduated. Our alumni network is your alumni network. Our past graduates are people who can help, encourage and support you, today's graduates. Our professional development programs are your professional development programs. And we're privileged to be joined this afternoon by an outstanding role model, someone whose career, like many others, hasn't always followed the smoothest path, who has invented and reinvented brands, who has preempted and led the market. I will leave the detail to the University Secretary's citation, but the exemplar is there. Today, celebrate what you, as honours graduates, have achieved and continue to stride along the lifelong path of learning and personal development. Enjoy the journey and come back and see us from time to time. Thank you.
Chancellor, Pro-Chancellor, Vice-Chancellor, and everybody else, all the rest of us. George Davis is quite simply a remarkable man. His vision and business savvy are behind the incredibly successful household name brands Next, George at Asda, and Per Una at Marks and Spencer. There cannot be many women in the hall today who have not worn George. Certainly for myself, you can count me as one of your many satisfied customers. George was born in Crosby in 1941 and attended Bootle Grammar School. His father, who he describes as a gentleman, was a sausage factory manager, whilst his mother, the dominant force of the family, ran a post office. As a child, George was used to seeing his mum, auntie, and cousin cutting out patterns and making dresses at home in preference to shopping on the high street. Whilst both his parents have been influential in his life, those early experiences with his mother must have made a deep impact that was to surface powerfully in his adult life. His father passed on a love of football, and in particular, a love of Liverpool Football Club, which George still supports. In fact, George was a promising footballer himself and had trials for the club during the reign of the legendary Bill Shankly. Whilst not quite making the grade there, he did go on to play centre-forward for Bangor City and also played for the England Universities and England Under-18 squads. Leaving school with no particular career in mind, it was his mother who was determined that George would make something of his life, and in cahoots with his head teacher, got him an interview at Birmingham University to study dentistry. Teeth, however, did not prove to be George's forte, and he left university to return to Liverpool, where he applied for and obtained a job at Littlewoods, working in stock control and then as a buyer for ankle socks, and he has never looked back. At the age of 32, George was asked to join a home-based retailer called Pippardee, which some of us ladies of a certain age will remember. Initially handling mostly lingerie, Pippardee parties operated on a similar basis to Tupperware. And yes, I have to admit, George, I was one of those giggling young women trying on a variety of underwear at various friends' houses. Happy days. Soon becoming the driving force behind the sales operation at Pippardee, George encouraged expansion into outerwear, which proved to be very successful and was the foundation of his total look concept. His success at Pippardee led to an approach from Sir Terence Conran in 1981 to revamp the rather tired Hepworth chain, which had recently expanded to take over Kendall's. And so Next was born. Quality, style, and affordability were the Next hallmarks. But the real trick here was the provision of mix and match to build complete outfits, ensuring that most customers bought much more than single items and felt good about it. The success of the Next brand led to the launch of Next Directory, followed soon after with the Next account card, helping the business to staggering growth of over 40% a year. Differences of opinion on commercial priorities at board level closed this chapter of George's career. But shortly afterwards, George was approached by Asda to create a clothing range, and in the 1990s, he produced his second household name brand, George at Asda. Value for money with style. An exceptionally successful venture, George walked away from the partnership along with the rest of the UK board when Asda was taken over by the American giant Walmart. At the time of the takeover, the George brand was turning over £600 million. Not surprisingly, perhaps, Marks & Spencer was the next to approach George, and in 2001, with a brief to appeal to a younger female market sector, he launched the Per Una range at M&S. Having him on the board added £500 million to M&S's stock market value and helped clothes sales rise by over 17%. And now, George is working on his latest venture, FG4, a children's clothing range designed for sale in the Middle East and North Africa, whilst on the home front, this year saw the launch of the new Gem range for Bealls department stores. Not for nothing is George referred to as King of the High Street. Less well known is George's charitable work, in which he takes a keen interest. This includes support for children in Sri Lanka and Tanzania, as well as the Circulation Foundation, previously known as the Vascular Society, and Wounded for Us, a charity that supports British soldiers injured in combat. He was an ambassador for Liverpool's European Capital of Culture and is a governor of Malvern College. In 2005, George began a relationship with Heriot-Watt University, helping to develop postgraduate courses in retail and fashion marketing and supporting a research centre for retail excellence. So what can I say about George Davis, the man? Well, success on this scale does not come by chance. George is a man of vision and determination. He is passionate about what he does. He cares about detail and is involved in all his ventures at every level. He has been described by some as mercurial and he is certainly no stranger to robust exchanges in the boardroom. Not all of his projects have been successful, but he takes these on the chin and treats them as learning experiences. Describing the pressures of the retailing business, George says, "You're always sitting an exam which the customer is marking." Intensely private in his personal life, I know that his family are a strong support to him in the ups and downs of a high-profile business career which shows no signs of stopping. Since being named as Guardian Young Businessman of the Year in 1985, George has been the recipient of countless awards recognising his major contribution to fashion, design, retail and business in a career which has spanned over 40 years. The brands he has created are enduring and a true testament to his vision and his commercial insight. To all our graduates here today, I say look and learn. George, on Desert Island Discs, you chose You'll Never Walk Alone as the one song you would take with you to your desert island. Well, I think I can speak for most people here today in saying that we'll be right alongside you, hoping to be first in the queue for your next inspiration. Chancellor, it is an honour and a privilege to present George Davis for the award of Honorary Doctor of Business Administration of Edge Hill University.
By the authority vested in me as Chancellor of Edge Hill University, I hereby confer the award of Honorary Doctor of Business Administration upon the awesome George Davis. Congratulations.
Thank you very much.
Ladies and gentlemen, graduates, I'm glad I'm standing here because I think it's important to talk to all the graduates, which I never made. As Leslie has basically purloined the whole of my speech. I don't like creating litter, but it's no bloody good, this. I'm a man who prides himself in vision, but I got that one wrong. And I mean that. Now, I've got a young lady who always helps me in marketing. I just want to let you know you're not with me any longer. No, she's a brilliant girl. So it's really off the cuff now. So it could be, I'm nearly going to say crap, but that's not the word to say. The best thing I think that happened in my life was when my mum, who was definitely, and anybody coming from Liverpool, everyone knows how dominant women are. We men have just had to put up with them. And she wanted me to go to the school where my sister went, which was Merchant Taylors. They didn't play football, and I had to have a real battle with her for about 2 months, and I eventually went to Bootle Grammar School. Now, the great thing about Bootle Grammar School, being from a farming family, I hadn't really experienced the types of people we seem to bring up in Liverpool. The one thing about Liverpool, I think, is everybody has vision, has ways of doing things. The trouble with Liverpool, 50% are crooks, and the other 50% I'd like to put myself into it, but maybe I'm a bit of a crook too. That's Liverpool. And when I arrived I had to get 2 buses to go to Bootle Grammar School. And today I think the kids are spoilt because nobody saw me. I was 10 and I got a bus, changed at Bolton Vale, and then got to Bootle somewhere or other. The reason I speak like this, because my mother was a real snob. And she made me go to elocution lessons in the centre of Liverpool, which I would never tell anybody at Bootle Grammar School. And thank God I've still got a bit of a Liverpool accent. But getting into that school was a shock. Because when you brought up in a bit of a country environment, there was Docker's sons. And the first boy I met, he actually didn't have a tattoo. He'd carved his initials on with a razor on his arm and then rubbed salt in it. I thought, that's not a bad idea. But I don't think it's a commercial opportunity. There were guys, Docker's sons, there were lawyers' sons, but the most important thing, and I think, talking to all of yourselves, is learning to mix with people and enjoying people of all class. The people I can't stand, and I don't mind saying it, and I'll never get a knighthood, are politicians. It doesn't matter what side they come from, you've got to say, they're pretty hypocritical. The thing that I've enjoyed the most about today, and I've been to a few ceremonies like this, and I'm always feel a bit guilty about getting an honorary degree when I haven't really done too much for it. And you've all worked really hard to make yours, so I apologize. But the thing that was the real surprise to me today, because I've met some real fuddy-duddy men in my life, which I'm not one of, but meeting the Chancellor, you're very lucky to have a Chancellor looking like that. That's you, Chancellor, by the way. I'll be ticked off for this later. But my early memories of Edge Hill, strangely enough, I did not know it, although, as you probably all know, it's a place in Liverpool, and that's where my mum had her post office. And just to tell you how strong and resolute my mother was, one day, because as you know, there are a few people in Liverpool who are not too trustworthy. And one day, 2 guys go in with guns, hold her up, and steal £800, which was a lot of money then. And you'd expect my mother to come home to Crosby being all upset. Not in the least. She said, I'm going to get them. And I think I know who they are. She then, for the next 4 weeks, because in those days, post office, they may do now, closed at lunchtime, and she travelled around and spotted them. So she goes to the police arrest them, and they got a 2-year suspended sentence, which says a lot about our police force. It's not the police force, the criminal. Anyway, the most important thing in coming up here today, I first came here to play football, so I knew it. I think the university is amazing. And I'm not saying this because I don't have to say it, because once you got your degree, I could say you have hard luck. But I have to say, I think this university, of all the universities I've been, is living not in today's world, but the future. I think that you specialize in health, which is nursing, education. You're actually turning out people who can do real jobs. And the thing I'd say to all because I think it's far more important in a sense, to talk to all the graduates, my advice would be, you've got to get a job, because it destroys you if you don't. And it doesn't really matter what the job is for a short time. But when you really make your decision, try and do something that you really love, and it's not a job. Because if you do something that is your hobby, you don't feel you're going to work. And that's where I was totally lucky. I got kicked out of Birmingham University doing dentistry. I was quite happy to do nothing at home because I was quite good at tennis and squash and golf. And in the end, after about 3 months, my mother, who was quite strong, said, "Don't you think you should work?" Now, that was a bit of a shock. And it wasn't that she was rich. Anyway, I did apply for Littlewoods. And from the day I started at Littlewoods, I knew I was doing something that I totally enjoyed. And what I enjoy is trying to understand people, and not just people, but women. Is that such a bad thing? I've got 5 daughters, 3 wives, and thank God, 2 sons. I don't know what I'd done if I'd only had 2 sons at the start. I mightn't carried on. But I've had a really enjoyable life. But I think the most important thing is, if you do well yourself, is to give back as much as you can to everybody. And so I'd just like to finish and say, congratulations to all of you. Congratulations to, because I think you can't do it. I could never have done it without my father, who was always kept me under control, and my mum, who was, she brainwashed me, basically. I had no choice. When I went to Birmingham University, I didn't apply. She did it, because I didn't think I'd get my A-levels. She did it with the headmaster and said, "Doing dentistry." I said, "Thanks very much." So, I did the next best thing. The first wife, her father was a dentist, so I made up for it. But basically, I know the support you had. You need support, and today it's so expensive. But nevertheless, that's life. And I wish you every success in your careers, and I just wish that you have as enjoyable a time in your work that I've had. And to the men, if you can make 3 or 4 wives, that'd be better. I'm coming back.
Chancellor, the following students studied for their award at FY Institute of Technology in Singapore. On behalf of Academic Board, I present the following candidates for their awards to be conferred in absentia. For the award of Engineering Management, Chi Yung Chi Chao, Li Miao, Li Rong, Li Chen, Min Chiang Ko, Wu Po Yen, Wang Likai, Siti Nouraida Mohammed Hussein, Saiful Nizam Sanusi. For the degree in Business Management, Feng Rei, Feng Seiying, Feng Lijian, Liu Han, Liu Minghao, Qian Shu, Tan Yang, Wang Gesing, Wang Gesit Shi, Yong Qing, Yong Yong, Zhang Ying, Zhang Ying Qi Ya. Chancellor, on behalf of Academic Board, I present students from the Faculty of Arts and Sciences who are candidates for awards today. For the degree of Bachelor of Science with Honours in Accountancy, Faiza Arshid. Felicity Borham. Melanie Jane Burton. Rochelle Cullen. Gareth Headley Nathaniel Cuthbertson. Gifty Dankwa. Carl Fletcher. Jennifer Mukami Gatonga. Christopher Stephen Greenwood. Jonathan Schofield Gregory. Katie Ann Gregory. Stacey Claire Griffiths. Hannah Guest. Dominique Amy Harris. Stephanie Yolanda Harris. Sean Hartley. Rebecca Victoria Hatton. Jane Hayes. Lauren Elizabeth Henry. Mark Brian Keenan. Daniel Charles Stephen Knight. Eleanor Sarah Leyland. Gemma Ann Livesey. Laura Jane Marshall.
You had an exam 4 days after you had a baby. Then you deserve another.
Lorraine Hasvinei Mathanike. Deborah Matthews. Robert Graham McKee. Joshua Thomas Miller. Miranda Jane Mort. Sandra Mary Mulligan. Leo O'Neill. Sean Parry. Kerry Louise Reeves. Mark Ricketts. Temi Tope Sadiku. John Shaw. Kyle Patrick Shaw. Deborah Starr. Mandy Jean Tiernan. Ashley Waring. Nirmala Dashini Wiransige Arachichige. Sarah Jane Whitehill. Sarah Louise Wilson. For the degree of Bachelor of Science with Honours in Business and Management, Matthew Aindo. Thomas Allen. Alan William Ashcroft. Graham Allen Ashton. Laura Jane Balmer. Jonathan Bathurst. Amy Lynn Bennett. Nubaid Zahid Vati. Joanne Marie Bloor. Rachel Boardman. Dean Bricklebank. Kieran Philip Brown. John James Bullen. Richard Thomas Byrne. Stephanie Deborah Chappell. Marissa Collier. Sarah Louise Dickinson. Matthew Thomas Duggan. Alex Dunwoody. Elizabeth Grace Eatock. Matthew John Ellison. Sarah Victoria Enriles. Bradley Anthony Farley. Joseph Daniel Fitzsimon. Rebecca Louise Forrest. Mark Jamie Fowler. Bernard James Gill. Sean Peter Glennon. Richard John Happer. Amy Louise Harwood. Rebecca Rose Healy. Andrew James Hood. James Hunter. Mohammed Karim Iqbal. Michael David John. Jamie Louise Jones. Matthew Daniel Kelly. Charlotte Annalise Kovac. Jennifer Ladanovsky. Stephen Mark Latham. Jonathan Peter Lee. Jessica Iona Leahy. Sophia Hannah Lloyd. Thomas Christian Mann. Majid Manzoor. Stacey McCourt. Robert MacDonnell. Brendan McParland. And Thomas John Meadows.
Cheers.
Okay. Ibrahim Mohammed. Jack Paul Mulhern. Mark Needle. John Andrew Page. Martin Prendergast. Stephen James Purcell. Marie Ann Reddy. Paul Joseph Rennox. John James Rogers. Nicholas Rowe. Rachel Louise Rowe. Stephen Anthony Searle. Samantha Laura Shaw. Gillian Smart. Ashley Smith. Ethan Smith. Josh Oliver Nicholas Taylor. Darren Andrew Trussell. Katie Walsh. Gary Robert Warner. Michael Adam Williams. Kate Liana Wilson. Anastasia Zumi. Terence William Butler. David George Jones. Jack Alexander Sinnott. For Bachelor of Science with Honours in Business and Management, Human Resources Management, Jonathan Clifford Kelly. Joseph Michael Lee. Marketa Neredova. For Bachelor of Sciences with Honours in Business and Management International Business, Nathan Battle. For Bachelor of Science with Honours in Business and Management, Leisure and Tourism, Corey Jonathan Ellis. Natasha Louise Physick. For Bachelor of Science with Honours in Business and Management Marketing, Christopher Ian Bell. For Bachelor of Science with Honours in Business and Management Studies, Hannah Louise Brown. Nick David Cardwell. Margaret Rachel Davis. Diane Fogg. Rahana Haig. Ludovit Helenia. Gary Ingham. David Martin Kilgallen. Suzanne Marie Ledbetter. Danielle Maroney. Paul Simon Murray. Jonathan Paul Myers. Julie Rabaka. Gary Allen Spencer Burton. Denise Williams. For Bachelor of Science with Honours in Computing, Liana Jane Anders. Adam Bostock. Simon Graham Lucas Buchanan. Stephen John Kane. Adam Lee Cairns. Daniel George Campbell. Anthony David Coombs. Douglas Corr. John Dass. Christopher Davis. Lisa Jane Evans. Leighton Gates. Carl Anthony Glennon. Chancellor, the following candidate has also been awarded the Lisa Ratcliffe Prize for achieving the highest mark in a dissertation of those finalists in the Faculty of Arts and Sciences. Andrew Hall. Lewis Hart. Andrew Hirrell. Peter Hugh Jones. Paul Kenworthy. David Knowles. Daniel Lee. Joseph Maguire. David Gandhi Manning. John McMahon. Paul Malloy. Christopher Moore. Adam William Pierce. Aisha Qureshi. Daniel Scarf. James Michael Sinclair. Philip Staples. Stephen Peter Thomas. Leo John Thompson. Kimberly Jane Webster. Rebecca Catherine Whittle. Sarah Woodcock. For Bachelor of Science with Honours in Computing, Systems and Software, Philip David Andrews. Darrell Brian Anthony Bayliss. Darrell Lee Owens. For Bachelor of Science with Honours in Information Technology Management for Business, Amy Graham. Amy Martin. For Bachelor of Honours with Business and Management Studies, Shireen Turner. Chancellor, that concludes the presentation of students from the Faculty of Arts and Sciences.
I've only shaken your hands. So I have to say some magic words as the Chancellor to give them their degrees. Should I give them their degrees? Yes. Really? Yes. Do they deserve it? Yes. Do you want them? Yes. Really? Pardon? Yes, please. Please, there you go, okay. We like politeness here at Edge Hill. Okay, face the front, really focus now, because this is the moment you've all worked for. Okay, here we go. By the authority vested in me as Chancellor of Edge Hill University, I hereby confer the Edge Hill University Awards for which you have been presented, and I heartily congratulate you all. Hats off and wave them in the air. Well done. Phew, done that then. Well, I hope you enjoyed that. I love being Chancellor of Edge Hill University for lots of reasons, but a lot of it is because of days like today, where I get to have the privilege of having the moment with each and every one of you, which is a real transitional moment in your life. It's a really important and pivotal moment. For those of you that don't know me, my name is Professor Tanya Byron. I am the Chancellor of Edge Hill University, and if you don't understand how university hierarchies work, as Chancellor, that makes me the Queen. Just so that you're really clear, I am the most important person in this room. My Vice-Chancellor there, Dr. John Cater, is my Prime Minister, and around me you also see the cast of Harry Potter, who also, I have to say, when they haven't been being extras on the Harry Potter film set, have worked extraordinarily hard to support you all to get where you are today. I'm very proud of my university. I'm proud of our history. Over 125 years, we were founded within the suffragette movement. We were the first non-denominational teacher training college for women, the first time women could be educated without the church managing or being involved. And we are a teacher training college and now a university that we do excellence, but we do excellence in the sort of way that our honorary doctorate student, George Davis, has done excellence in his life. It's about having passion, it's about having self-belief, it's about caring about what you do, and it's about pushing the boundaries and not being afraid. And that's what I want you to take away from this university. I want you now to go out there and make a difference. Don't just be good, don't just be brilliant, be exceptional. And remember this moment. It's a really, really amazing moment for me. I don't know how much you can see from there, but you all come to me really very emotional. Some of you come to me with tears in your eyes. Some of you come to me shaking and saying, Chancellor, I think I'm going to be sick, which is obviously a joyful moment for me. And all of you have the most revoltingly sweaty hands. Honestly, it's like a health and safety hazard doing this job, I can't tell you. But it is a privilege and a pleasure. And I want you, first of all, before I end, just to acknowledge the people who've worked really hard to get you where you are today. Could all the staff, the Dean of the Faculty and all the staff, please could you stand, and please could you show your appreciation for the work that they've done. So our university motto is in scientia opportunitas, which means in knowledge there is opportunity, there is possibility. So now you have the knowledge. You've proved that to us. You've got excellent degrees. Some of you have worked really hard. Some of you have resat them, but you've all got there, and we're very proud of you. But now what will make a difference between you being really good and being the best is how you use that knowledge. So take the ethos from this university, take the ethos from George Davis, our honorary graduate today. Be the best by being courageous, by being focused, by being passionate, and by being real about who you are and what you do. Because I'm very proud of you. Thank you for choosing Edge Hill to do your degrees. Thank you for being our ambassadors as you go out there into the world of work. And never ever forget that we're always here for you. And if you want to come back for us to remind you just how great you are, just come and have a cup of tea with me. Well done, and thank you very much.
Ladies and gentlemen, with a song for our graduating class of 2012, will you please welcome Miss Lucy McHale.
For you,
Thank you very much, Lucy. Can I offer my personal congratulations to all those who have just graduated, and also to George Davis upon his honorary award, and thank him on your behalves for his unscripted response. Thank you, George. Ladies and gentlemen, just a couple of announcements. For those who may have suffered from technical malfunctions with their cameras and telephones, the entire ceremony has been recorded and will be available to be seen on the university's website tomorrow. There is a link that when you go to the website, you'll see graduations, and even a Luddite like me can actually find it. I had a look on the website this morning, and there have been well over 1,000 hits for some of the ceremonies earlier this week. So as I say, if you want an entire action replay, it is there, and I think I'm right in saying it's there virtually indefinitely. Secondly, and far more importantly, refreshments are available in the Student Hub, which is the modern building immediately to the rear of the main building. One last thing to the students, on their way there, do not even contemplate going near the lake or even going into the lake. Otherwise, your awards will be withdrawn from you. I hereby declare this congregation closed.
Imagine yourself just going.